All right, let's get into it, man. Let's just okay, so here's the deal. I'm probably going to talk about this tomorrow. We didn't do a throwdown on Tuesday, so I think I'm planning on a afternoon throwdown tomorrow. And we're going to get some really saucy stuff on this. And I'll be able to speak about it more. My camera's just flipped out because I pounded the table a minute ago. So let me just... There we go. Got to fix that. I got to get a new tripod. But here we go. I believe... I'm going to tell you partially now and more tomorrow why I think YouTube is sending H3H3 to just attack Jeremy from TheQuartering. Now, I'll be honest. I've been friendly with Jeremy for like 5 years or here, whatever. And the bottom line is I've been listening to him for a long time. Since he had 50,000 subscribers. Okay, when he had 50,000 subscribers. And I had about the same. I had about 45,000 subscribers or no, I had about 30. That's what it was. I had 30,000. He had 50. Anyway, I've been listening a long time. Way back. And so I do have a little bit of a bias. But I also, I've always watched H3. But I don't know, this comes off as weird to me today, this content court that H3 is doing. And by the way, here's my other issue with this. The reason why I think YouTube is sending him after this guy is because Jeremy constantly attacks YouTube and certain people that are supposed to be protected, but they're scumbags. And it's just kind of weird that this is actually they consider this bullying now, by the way. YouTube actually considers this content bullying and all these other things. Like, you're not supposed to be able to do this type of content, really, but you can, but it's really, like, rare that it goes anywhere. But when YouTube finds somebody they don't like, they do uphold the TOS. But a lot of other channels, small channels, they don't care. They don't uphold the TOS. And they don't even uphold the TOS if it's somebody like H3H3. Because they like H3H3. They love him, actually. He could probably wish death on me and call me an N-word and say that he hopes my kids burn in a fire. And then also say that he's coming to get me and he's hired people that will hurt me. He could probably say all kinds of things. And it would never, ever be a problem. You know what I mean? Now, I get, smaller YouTube channels ranting about people and stuff like that. Sometimes that happens. People always talk up about... But he's actually... People said he's punching down and maybe a little bit, but, I don't know, man. Jeremy and TheQuartering is doing so well that H3H3 is attacking him. I think it's crazy. The likes to dislikes are interesting. Obviously, H3H3 is a bigger channel, but it is getting a substantial amount of dislikes there as well because it's very hypocritical. I find this whole thing to be hypocrisy. Just super hypocritical, unbelievably hypocritical. He rags on him for maybe being a racist. Yet H3 has said the N-word and said other words like that. And by the way, just because you say words doesn't mean you're a racist. You know what I mean? That's not what I'm saying. But he basically uses that as jokes to be like, yeah, this guy's basically like a racist. And it's okay, well, are you a racist then? He talks about how you shouldn't talk about people's wives and his wife. He always complains about people mentioning his wife. And yet in this video, they're going to go after... Jeremy's wife, so it's a little weird. But those are sort of the negatives. The negatives are that it's a little petty, to me, a little bit petty. You're going after the guy's wife. You're contradicting almost everything. You're becoming what you used to hate, but you now are that. And Jeremy does do a little bit of SJW right. I don't know about alt-right. He's not alt-right, but he's alternative. Which is cool. I like alternative. That's what I'm into. Jeremy does this sort of alternative SJW-ish stuff sometimes. I do admit, you're right. Sometimes he does get a little too oh my God, let's be upset about everything. But he's usually reacting to other people being upset. So Jeremy is reacting to other people being upset. So he reacts and gets upset about other people who are upset. And now you, H3H3, are upset about him who's upset about other people that are upset. So, you're doing this, you're all doing the same thing. It's just weird. But that's about as far as, I guess, the negativity goes until we actually break this down tomorrow, which I, will find interesting to do that. But what I will say about Jeremy is He didn't want to be in the position he's in. He wanted to open up Magic the Gathering cards and have a channel that grows to be one of the biggest Magic the Gathering communities. And he was he was killed for it. Like, I mean, listen, this guy was attacked. You created the monster, Wizards of the Coast. You know, if Wizards of the Coast didn't do what they did, they created a monster of Jeremy realizing, wow, this is going on throughout the world. And in America, forget opening up Magic the Gathering cards. I've been he got banned from Magic. And he got his cards taken away digitally, all his cards taken away. All over nothing really, just a couple of trolls on Twitter. People were allowed to be mean to him. He wasn't allowed to be mean back. And he lost everything, and he saw that hypocrisy, and he turned his channel into what it is now. You created this monster. So there's really nothing that bad about Jeremy to me. There's nothing too bad about H3H3 either here. It's just really like that there's a little hypocrisy going on from everybody. But the idea of the video I find entertaining. I think this is entertaining, this content court. I've seen many people do content courts or, you know, the Day of Judgment or like stuff like that has gone on for years on YouTube with people and stuff like that. But usually it becomes a bullying session, and this is really, but you know, whatever. I'm not against that, by the way. Go ahead, man. Go to town on people if you want, I guess. My point is, YouTube loves this guy, H3H3. They love Ethan. They love him. So he's allowed to do this sort of hidden behind comedy bullying session, which is okay with me if everybody is allowed to do it, but not everybody is allowed to do it. It was kind of funny. They did a good job putting this together. I think it's entertaining. I think it's pretty good. Overall, I take it for what it is, which I think it's comedy. Although I don't know, man. I catch some salt in Ethan's voice, like real salt, like very Mean Girls stuff from Ethan. Kind of like, wow, buddy, that's kind of wow. Okay, like it's not funny. He's actually kind of being like, you're a bitch, and I'm great. He really does. It sometimes come off like, wow. Like he is dude, he comes off as a mean girl, like the head cheerleader. You watch the video, you'll know what I'm talking about. I don't know if we can find an example now because I'm just rambling on. I'm going to talk about this tomorrow with probably examples and stuff like that. So I find it interesting. But the biggest thing I find interesting really is that he gets away with this. That other people would be in trouble, and but he's not in trouble. You know, it's that sort of thing. That's what I find interesting about this. That's why I call it YouTube sends H3H3, because I almost wonder if they like, hey, yeah, go for that, do that thing.
A bunch on the slide, a bunch of children.
This guy's statement, not like personal issues, but I'm going to address them too, because I like Sky. I think we're actually on a friendly, we do talk back and forth, and you know, he recently unfollowed me, but I think I know.
Sounds like good friends. He's like, damn it, that was my only black friend.
Most of the people that
he hits two boxes for me, gay and black. What am I going to do without him?
I'm going to address them too, because I like Sky. I think we're actually on a friendly, we do talk back and forth, and you know.
So that's like, it's just kind of weird, like sort of like assuming by H3 right there. Like he assumes, like you don't know how many black friends he has or doesn't have, or why does that even matter? So I get it's comedy though, but it feels real. I don't know what it is, man. Sometimes I'm like this. People think that they're like, oh, I thought you were really mad. I'm like, no. So sometimes I come off real. So maybe H3 isn't being real. It's just supposed to be all funny. But I mean, you can always fall back on that whether he is or isn't. So I mean, I don't know.
Oh, he recently unfollowed me, but I think I know why. I think he takes a lot of heat from people who run in his circles that really don't like me. I also think that maybe sometimes my takes are too spicy and it bothers him, but it was not
spicy. That's a good way to call what you do.
Personal. Like he literally DM'd me to say it.
Yeah, you said the N-word a bunch of times, H3. So you're really not much better. Okay.
That he had to do it.
I've said it too.
Like it was wholesome. So
it was wholesome how he cut me out of his life.
No disrespect to either guy, but you know, it's not a false equivalency. My entire point is simple. Change one word. Imagine me saying, hey, I just started exclusivelygames.com. I'm only hiring white people.
Yeah, it's totally different. I mean, that is just a totally horrible comparison.
Essentially.
Mm.
And he also mentions that he wasn't a fan of the original, but he's extremely triggered by this new iteration.
Fascinating.
Well, you know, the bottom line is Jeremy is triggered by the trigger. He's triggered by the triggered. And now you are triggered by that he's triggered by the triggered. And now I'm triggered that you're triggered about him being triggered because people are triggered. What the fuck are we doing on YouTube nowadays? I'll see you guys in the next video, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. We'll have more cuts and examples and things like that. But a lot of people brought this up to me and said, please talk about this. So I gave you my little bit that I can. But now I've got to go watch AEW and do that review. I'll see you guys live tonight at about 10 p.m. on the Joe Cronin Show channel. This is Corrupted Nation, and I will see you tomorrow with more. Here's some other videos popping up that you might have missed. Also, if you haven't subscribed to my other channel, Shame on News, go subscribe to Shame on News. Me and Jake DeMarco did a 1-hour podcast today. It's up on Patreon, okay? If you haven't heard it, it's on Patreon. And if you want to hear a clip from it, go check out Shame on News. We talked about Rudy Giuliani getting caught with the 15-year-old, or allegedly, I don't know, from the Borat set. What the hell's going on in that movie? That movie sounds like it's going to be really exciting. It's going to be like Cuties. Except for instead of the cuties, the dancing and stuff, it's going to be Giuliani looking around for 15-year-olds, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, we'll see you tonight.